can do it. Sure we can do it. We just got to, yeah.
Thank you, John. Today we are talking about our 10 reasons for homesteading, and Mr. J has joined me again. Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you to Ben and Meg at the Hollar Homestead for nominating us to do this collaborative challenge. And
I love the way you use the word thank you.
I'll say thank you. Mr. J is suffering because I've dragged him into this. You're all right, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm fine.
You're all right, aren't you?
I'm all right.
Yeah, good. Okay, so we're not going to mess around any longer because we're very good at messing around.
And the battery will run out if we mess around too long. We've got a list which is now making sure you can hear by banging it against the microphone.
Okay, well, first of all, we didn't choose to homestead. We fell into it, really, didn't we?
Well, yeah, we were looking for a house. Yep. We'd been living together for a period of time, 2.5, 3 years, whatever it was, in a rented house, which they sort of, kept saying they might sell, and it was costing a stupid amount of money in rent, and we had some big life changes, including actually me being made redundant and Liz walking out of her job. But hey, but we got into a situation where we could actually afford to buy a house for various reasons, and we were looking for quite a while before we had the money.
Yeah.
And we were very definitely wanting a place in a village with facilities, with shops. It had to be detached, it had to have walking distance to the shops, and it had to have public transport links, and it had to have a medium-sized garden so that Liz could do a bit of fruit and veg and blah blah blah. And then we came and looked at this place,
and everything changed.
Drove down, and Liz wanted to buy it before we'd even got through the gate, because she's an impulsive little what's-it sometimes. And I mean, yeah, it was stunning when we arrived. We looked around. It was a beautiful day a couple of years ago. It's even more stunning now.
It is. You're right. Yes.
And I insist that we actually came back and had a second viewing before we put an offer in, because first viewing, yes, you fall in love with the place. Second viewing, you go and find all the things you don't like about it. And we did find some things we didn't like about it, but not enough not to buy it. So we bought it. And of course it came with 3/4 of an acre of paddock. And so when we were in the interim between putting the offer in and actually moving in, which lasted a bit longer than it should have done for, again, assorted reasons, Liz started planning to grow a few veg and a couple of it was going to be 2 or 3 beds of veg and a couple of beds of fruit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And maybe have a couple of chickens. And then, we've got all that space, we might as well use it. So she ended up with this huge, I don't know where it is now, but she ended up with this massive great piece of paper, which filled our living room in the old house, filled the floor there, with the whole thing plotted out of 300 fruit beds and 7,000 vegetable plots.
He exaggerates a little, but only a little.
Donkeys and pigs and geese, and all the rest of it. And fundamentally, actually, that is what we've done gradually.
Yeah,
it's happened. We did it by accident rather than by design.
Yes. So our number 2 reason for homesteading is health reasons. Now, in yesterday's vlog, I talked about some physical and some mental health issues that I'm struggling with.
Since I've known Liz, she has, as she explained in the vlog, she's had her health issues. And one thing that is very important to her is to have a project. So when we were first together, she would have a project for a period of time, but then it ended, and then I'd see a dip in her mental health levels. This is a project that doesn't stop. So whenever she's feeling a bit sort of, I can't be bothered, I don't want to do it, I give her a kick up the bum. That's my job. And then, she has to get on with it, because that is the nature of running a small holding. You need to go out and look after the animals. You need to go out in all weathers and pin things back down or dig things up or whatever.
Rescue stuff that's been blown across the field and things,
But that's been very good for her mental health and actually your physical health as well, hasn't it? Really?
Yes. Yep. It has. And so this lifestyle and the ability to produce our own food has had a really positive impact on our health. You not agree?
Yeah, and also because we're no longer, a lot of these reasons are interlinked. We'll be talking about the same things, so apologies for that. But a lot of the fact that we don't have to pay a ridiculous mortgage or a ridiculous amount of rent, so we don't have to fund that. We don't have to fund someone else's income by paying daft amounts of rent, which is, from a health perspective, means a much less stress. And also that means that in order to pay the bits we have to pay, council tax and insurance and the utility bills, I can now work part-time, and that's been good for me, because it means I've got things I can do else, with the rest of my time. Speaking of which,
that leads into number 3, which is our time.
Yeah, because time is the biggest and most valuable resource you've got.
Yeah, absolutely. So much more our time is ours to decide what we want to do with it. Our children are grown up and left home and have children of their own. So although we have grandparenting duties every now and then, and they're hardly duties, are they? They're great fun.
No, not really.
It does mean we've got a lot of time for ourselves, which means that we can, not only can I spend time doing the small holding, I can spend time doing my other hobbies. And Mr. J works part-time, does some stuff on the small holding, and also can do your hobbies.
Yeah,
do you want to talk about those?
I've been radio presenting for more years than I care to admit. Must be coming up to 40 years, actually. Good grief. And I now present a couple of programmes on a variety of internet radio stations every week. So I've got time to prepare those and record those and send them off and do a bit of publicity about them. And I'm also helping a couple of other people by producing their shows, because they don't have the kit to do it, and I know what I'm doing. I used to be a whiz with a razor blade and splicing tape, back in the old days. So yeah, I've got time to do that without it meaning burning the candle at both ends.
Yeah, and that's really important.
Which is very important.
And working out there and producing our own food has had an impact on our next thing, which is our control over our intake. So basically, what we're eating and just how we're consuming.
Yeah, we can't grow our own coffee though.
No, we can't grow our own coffee. So we found there's a definite improvement in both of our health, actually, since we've been growing and eating organically, and that includes our as much of our fruit as we can, most of our own veg, but certainly not all of it, and our own meat. So we're eating our chickens and ducks, but we're having to buy in all the things that we can't grow. So,
and some of that is done through me earning a living and through selling various bits and pieces, and some of it's done on a trade basis, isn't it?
Yeah.
We swap bits for bits, and there's nothing wrong with a bit of bartering. But also, because of being involved with small holding fraternity, we've also got to know people who are raising organic meat of other varieties than we do, so we can buy some from them or barter with them.
Yeah.
So it's definitely improved things.
Okay, and so where are we? Number 5 on our list is because we like a challenge.
Must do. I moved in with her.
So so it's been a fairly steep learning curve, this, to say the least. I grew up in the countryside, and you spent a lot of your more teenage years in the countryside.
No, you grew up in the countryside. I didn't move to the countryside until I was 18, and then I left as quickly as I could. And I came back when I was 21 and decided London was just too noisy and too smelly.
Okay, so we both spent some time in the country, but not in a rural life like this one. And some of us have spent more time living in an urban environment than others.
City boy me, innit?
And so although we had some basic DIY skills, and I've gardened for the last 30 something years, so I had those skills, but I hadn't seen a chicken close up until the first one arrived, actually. And had you?
Yes. Holiday on a chicken farm. God, it smells.
This place doesn't smell like that.
No,
does
it doesn't.
No, good. You sure?
Yes.
Really?
I haven't gone nose blind. You're all right.
So there's masses of skills that we have had to learn, and we've learned them really quickly. And
or rediscover, actually, to be fair, because there was a lot of things that you talk about the DIY skills. There are things I haven't done for 25 years, and the first time you try and chisel something out, it goes completely wrong. But then you think, no, I know why I went wrong there. I should have got someone else to do it.
So it's been a really good challenge in terms of learning new things, and it's also just been challenging it's challenged our patience. It's challenged one of our patiences anyway.
I haven't got any patience. I retired from medical practice years ago.
So it's challenged our endurance and our patience and our skill levels.
And I'm amazed we're still alive.
And it actually, it's challenged our relationship a few times, hasn't it?
Yes.
And I think, I'm hoping he's going to nod when I say this. I think actually it's made us stronger. As a couple, I think it's made us stronger.
It's a couple of what?
Oh, I'm going to be cutting so much of this out. Okay, oh dear, we're waffling here. So number 6, independence. Independence from each other. It gives us a bit of space as well, doesn't it, from each other?
I mean, well, that's very important in any relationship, is that you actually have space to be yourself, as well as being, space to being part of us. As much as we have just become the Howard and Hilda of Wellington boots, we're not two peas from the same pod. We're two different people. We have different interests, and it's like my mum used to say about her and my dad. They rub along very well. They rubbed along very well, and no longer with us. And they start off at the same point in the morning, and they diverge as the day went along, doing their different things, and eventually the tracks came back together, and they ended up in the same place.
Yeah. So it's been good for that. And number 7 is wealth, or a lack thereof.
Bring out the begging bowl.
Okay. When we bought this place, we put just about our every last bean into buying it, and we chose time being a more valuable resource than hard cash. So we don't necessarily measure our wealth in how much is in the bank, but
other people do.
But other people do, yeah. But we are, as you said earlier on, we're rich in numerous other ways that aren't necessarily monetary, and this lifestyle supports all of those. Number 8, security. No
rent. We don't have to pay rent. We don't have the risk of if I get laid off from this particular job, which I hope I don't, by the way, boss, if you're watching, I don't have to then think, oh, good grief, I can't pay the rent, we're going to get kicked out, or I can't pay the mortgage, we're going to lose the house.
Yeah.
And that is a massive weight off the shoulders.
Yeah.
So that's one of the biggest things about this place, is that we have that security.
Yes.
Of tenure.
It was horrid on our previous home, because the landlady did make it really clear that she would be putting the place on the market at some point. And as I was getting more and more ill, the thought that we would have to just pack up in the middle of all that was
we did
awful.
actually,
and in the end,
that's exactly what we did. But we'd already got somewhere, and we had the month of notice period to actually move out, while they were doing big work to the house so they could sell it.
Yeah. Right. Number 9, heritage.
Yes, because we're none of us as young as we used to be. This place was a small holding. It was set up as a small holding in the 1930s, and originally came with 10 acres, which is now rented by the council, and no longer part of our land, unfortunately. Probably just as well, actually, because it'd be too much for us to manage, I think. So there was an element when we were first thinking about growing our own fruit and veg and having a couple of chickens and maybe a duck or two or whatever, of bringing this back into what it was set up for, which was to sustain life, grow fruit and veg and be a livelihood for somebody, and to an extent it is your livelihood.
Yeah.
So that's,
and supports yours.
Yeah,
so,
supports mine. So that is the heritage element of it. This place was a small holding. It had become a paddock for animals, which is great, absolutely wonderful. It was doing the job, and it was well looked after, and the house was amazing. But putting it back to use as a working, living small holding was something that felt like the right thing to do.
Yeah, it did. Number 10, environment.
Power to the people and power to the planet.
Both of us, but most especially Mr. J, have a really strong feeling that we should be doing everything we can to support and protect our environment. So not just in the house and not just our immediate grounds, but on a wider level. And everything that we can do here that will promote and support and do our bit has got to help.
Yeah, I mean, if we can reduce the food miles, that's good. If we can reduce our reliance on fossil fuels, that's good. I spent a long time promoting alternatives to car transport and people being more environmentally friendly. And one of the lines I used to use is, we're not beating me over the head with a wet lettuce and saying don't use your car, sell it, but do you actually have to drive 300 yards down the shop to buy the milk? And that's the thing, is we can all do a little bit, and all those little bits add up. And if we can all make things a little bit better around us, then gradually there's the whole ripple effect, and those ripples become waves.
Yep, absolutely. So there we go.
And number 11, it gives her something to vlog about. Another project.
So yeah, those are our 10/11 reasons for homesteading. We're not going to nominate anyone in particular. What we are going to do is say to any of our friends, if you would also like to share your reasons for homesteading, we'd really like to hear them. Oh, I'm hoping that's not on time lapse now. I feel like you need to sit forward and I need to sit back just so that you look bigger. No, you see, you've done it again. You sat backwards. Get nearer so you look fatter and I look thinner.
I can't look fatter.
Can you move your chair forward a tiny bit? There. See, that's...
I'm sliding here.
You don't have to be, make me look like a slouch.
Big one?